Novak Djokovic versus Valentin, second round of the French Open 2026. Spoilers ahead if you've not checked out the match yet or seen the highlights and you would like to do so and then return to the review. Here's your chance in 3, 2, 1. Novak Djokovic continues to be the most compelling character in tennis. He has had Father Time as his primary opponent, as was the case in this match. Then the added spice of the relatively slower clay courts at Philippe Chatrier. On top of that, there are some spectators who just cannot seem to remain quiet during the serving ritual before a point starts, especially for Novak Djokovic. On top of that, moreover, is the added element of a hometown favorite, that being Valentin finding more and more of his confidence and allowing himself to hit through the ball deeper into the match, which caused some very, I would say, entertaining sequences between the two players. The end scoreline is 6-3, 6-2, 6-7, and 6-3 in favor of the holder of 24 Grand Slam titles, Novak Djokovic. The match turned out to be much less straightforward than it appeared to be in the initial part of the match, that being the first two sets. The first two sets were pretty straightforward. The seasoned veteran was almost delivering a quasi-lesson to the relative newcomer, Valentin, playing, I believe, his second French Open, standing opposite to Novak Djokovic, who's playing his 20th French Open, if I'm not mistaken. The rallies were crisper. This match was held during the daytime, which typically means the conditions would be faster and the bounds would be a little bit higher. So it was faster, and I believe this was something that Djokovic benefited from only on the back of that night match against Giovanni Pesci-Petikoff, where Novak Djokovic played himself in, and the benefits of that seemed to be apparent to me in the first two sets, where Djokovic was hitting cleaner. The backhand was firing gradually more and more till the ending portion of the second set. The forehand, for me, will always remain the primary recipe to Djokovic's success in this stage of his career. Of course, we know the serve is always his reliable weapon, and it did have a very on-again, off-again performance, and I can divide it into the first and second serve. In fact, it is even more apparent in the third set, where specifically the second serve deserted Djokovic's game, opening the door for more opportunities for Valentin, who started hitting through those returns more and more. I had been watching this match casually for the first two sets, then a little bit more seriously toward the end of the third set and the fourth. What I saw was a very energetic youngster finding his game the deeper the match went. Novak Djokovic was locked in for the first two sets, as mentioned. He was getting a better hold of his own racket, if I can put it that way. He was balanced. He had fewer instances of the ball spiking up unexpectedly or dying down on the court. Then something changed. At the beginning and the middle of the third set, it was very apparent that Djokovic was having some problems. Maybe physically, he was stretching out his knee, his shoulder, and his second serve became very slow, which has been something that Djokovic has done, especially if my memory serves, 2021 in the final, after being down 2-0. Novak Djokovic won sets 3 and 4, and in the fifth set, his second serve was basically a very slow, calculated delivery, which was there for the hitting, and Tsitsipas just did not hit through those as much as today Valentin did. He started to take advantage of those loopy second serves from Novak Djokovic, resulting in Novak Djokovic losing a break twice, meaning Royer broke back 2 times. Djokovic's groundstroke game was not as compromised as his second serve, which led to the tiebreak, where again Djokovic found the extra gear, that meaning his shot tolerance rose up again. He was hitting through the forehand. A lot of the backhand confidence was back. He was hitting down the line, finding some angles as well, employing some slices to counter the barrage that Royer was delivering. More so after loosening up a little bit. And I believe it started when Royer found that second serve weakness and started hitting through the ball. After new balls were available, new tennis balls were available, Royer was a different player, and he did not back down. He faced match point and saved it in probably one of the top 5 best rallies of this match. In the fourth set, too, Novak Djokovic, being the more technically sound player, obviously, still had the upper hand in most rallies, and yet Royer relied a lot on trying to redline, trying to take his opportunities. A little bit reminiscent of Lucas Rosol against Rafael Nadal at Wimbledon, even though the setting is obviously different. Wimbledon is less bouncy. And yet, Novak Djokovic was hanging in there. His biggest opponents were his own second serve, some raucous crowd members who were constantly, it seemed constantly, calling out during his second serve ritual, resulting in some frustrated, explosive reactions from Novak Djokovic, which, in a way, in a very reverse way, makes me believe that he might have some good chances if his body holds up. Today, it looked like Djokovic might need the physio sometimes in between games. I was a little bit confused when one of the commentators said that the commentator found it strange that Novak Djokovic sat down between games and it was 1-love in the fourth set. And Djokovic was not exactly a spring chicken during the course of that that run of play, and yet it's pretty common. It's the change of ends at 1-love, so why would he not sit down? A little bit confusing, but I might be missing something there. Djokovic was fine physically. He was not gasping for air constantly. He was just looking a little bit checked out, and he was just done with the crowd. He was frustrated. He was flustered. He was exasperated so much that it seemed that he would just sit down for a little bit and needed a break from the entire proceeding of the match. He needed 4 match points to finally close it out. His second serve never returned. He was having problems with his pacing. I suppose he got conscious and he was not allowed to serve that loopy delivery in the second serve because of how well Valentin Royer was reading the second serve and hitting through it, resulting in those 2 breakbacks in the third set. Djokovic knew that that was probably not the way to go, so he was trying to force the issue, resulting in even more double faults than he would have liked. Ultimately, his quality prevailed, his stable high level prevailed. He had some very good exchanges, crisscross ground stroke battles, a slice, tennis IQ, obviously, and yet credit must go to Royer for never fading out of the match. He went down fighting, and he took his chances when they presented himself. That victory in the third set, it almost was against the run of play. There was very little chance that he would have been able to open that gate long enough to walk through it, and yet that unsettled and disturbed second serve phase of Novak Djokovic was enough of an opportunity, and Royer took advantage. He was serving well, his forehand hit was getting more intense, more accurate, and he was not afraid. So it was very refreshing to see that a young player did not cave to the legendary status of his much more experienced counterpart on the other side of the net. Now, there is this question mark regarding Djokovic's conditioning. It is his third match. He has been on court for more than 6 hours during the course of these 2 matches, and this time it was in the sun. What I was happy to see is that there was no... It did not seem that he was struggling in the heat. Now, how much of that is going to remain true into his third round? I'm not sure. He's supposed to face Fonseca, but I have to check whether that is still on. Fonseca is currently about to serve. No, Fonseca is actually 2 sets to love down to Prismic, which means that more than likely Prismic and Djokovic might have a rematch from the lead-in to French Open where Prismic beat Djokovic. However, Grand Slam Djokovic is a completely different animal. I have high hopes, and yet low expectations. So we'll see. It remains to be seen how Djokovic will adapt and recover from this. This was easily a more grueling contest, definitely mentally, and yet that is a part of the usual Djokovic routine in Grand Slams, he gets charged up. And I'm not sure how much of that battery is left, because, of course, he's still 39 years old. We cannot ignore that. Something that is very, very clear to me is that the way Novak Djokovic can find a way to win will always be to capitalize on the lull moments when the momentum of the other player is down and he himself, Djokovic himself, is not playing too well. And yet, his hitting, big hitting style on the forehand, taking the backhand on the rise, sometimes just punching the ball up. It's almost like a left jab that Djokovic hits, which is a high ball delivered to slow play down, allowing Djokovic to reposition himself in the neutral area of the court, being ready for the next shot of the opponent. Those are going to be some of the cornerstones of his game. Of course, his serve is accurate. His first serve is accurate. The second serve's unreliability reminded me a little bit of the second round of the 2024 U.S. Open. One of those matches. I think he lost the next match, where his second serve was abysmal by his own assessment. So it was almost that way, and yet I believe the performance of the second serve was also contributed to by the pressure applied by Royer. So it's a testament to how well the young Frenchman adapted to the entire thing. So we'll see. It is a very interesting run of play. Every Grand Slam Djokovic match is an event in itself, which is why I'm taking out the time to specifically cover those. Sinner won his match, as was expected. I believe I'll put more attention towards Sinner's schedule and Zverev's schedule after the fourth round. I'm pretty confident both of them will get there. From what I remember during my first glances to their respective draws, they have an easier path to the quarterfinal compared to Djokovic. And there's one quarter which is as open as can be, which is Auger-Aliassime's quarter. So it is a rather open French Open, other than the semifinal and final stage, which I believe will be at least featuring Sinner. Djokovic, maybe. Zverev, most likely. Anything else would be a surprise, and a refreshing surprise, that too. So that remains to be seen. Here's to the next round. A very electric performance by Novak Djokovic. I hope he's able to recharge. He's able to go to the chamber, that recharge chamber that he has, and also to get enough rest before the next match. Be it against Prismic or Fonseca, it will be a tough match, and he will be tested. He has proven a lot of people wrong, and he will continue to do so. There is a lot of life left in his game, as is always apparent in the Grand Slams. I never buy into these assessments at the Masters level or even the 500s level whenever he does play those, if that, because Djokovic knows how to peak at the right moment, that being the Grand Slams, which are his main priority. So until next time, this is Duncan Lievi, and the French Open is shaping up to be a great tournament, so looking forward to it. Until next time.